All right. Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday, and welcome to another episode, I suppose, of our Let's Code Together series on the Bletchley Institute Twitch stream. So, my name is Lantz Warrick. I'm a senior software engineering instructor at Flatiron School, and I'm been having a lot of fun coming here week after week and building out some different projects with you. I apologize for not being here next week. If you tuned in and were looking for me last week, I had a technical meltdown. Well, not complete meltdown, but uh, uh, my screen is suddenly all my monitors didn't want to work, and I couldn't get them done. Couldn't get them fixed for like a couple hours. So it's all resolved now. We're back in business, and I'm happy to see everybody today. We're going to pick up where we left off, and that is building a solar estimator app to go with the theme this month. There's a theme for our mastery challenges that all have to do with nature. I'm not sure exactly which one they're on right now. There's because there's a series different challenges, but there is one I think coming up that has to do with the sun and any like things related to the sun and clean air and things like that. So I decided to put together this solar energy calculator. We're going to take a look at what it looks like in just a second. To go for those who just to catch up people, partly what made up my mind to do this is as I was looking around for data sources, I found, now I'm not signed into all these things. I found this Soulcast API that's going to let us do some great data requests and put in, like, submit some parameters about your latitude, your longitude, the direction your roof is facing, well, the size of the solar array that you're planning to put on your residence, and then it's going to give back a forecast of power output based on your on your inputs. So um, we I went to an AI tool last week, and let's just kind of fire this up. And I started a Next.js framework app, but I was using their cool new site called V0 that is like a text to code generator specifically um, uh, geared for Next.js components, React components that are compatible with the Next.js framework. So let's see if we can power this up. npm run dev is how you start your next project, and it says it's running on localhost 3000. So let me move these around a little bit. This is going to be the one we want to see maybe closer. Okay. And we might also be using Postman to check out the API request when we get that far. But here um, let me refresh this because I was working on things earlier. This looks like a early version. Yeah, this is what we have right now to work with. Dun, 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 dun. And you'll see it looks like a very generic kind of landing page, kind of home page. And it is. It is actually this page that comes when you just kind of generate a blank Next.js project. And then this is the page that I got from the v0.dev website. And then I imported it into the app. But so how do we see this render? Well, I was a little bit confused about um, routing in Next.js. Those of you who've worked with Next.js probably are familiar that Next.js comes with this built-in client-side router. But it, previously there was only this a pages router where you needed to have like a pages directory, but they've changed in the new version of Next.js to having what they call the app router. And the way you're going to use it is when we nest directories inside of here, and then within that directory have a page that returns valid JSX, a valid component, then this becomes part of our client side URL, our client side pathing to render that page, right? So right now we're just getting this page, but if we want to see the page from here, we'll have. Ooh, I went the wrong direction. We'll add slash dashboard, right? Which will change our client side route. And now we see the beginning of a solar estimator being rendered over here, which is great. It's what we're looking for. But I think maybe I want to have this at the top level, right? I don't really need this anymore. And I'd like it to be where people arrive directly when they come to the website. So I'm just going to remove this, move this page up to the app level. All right. I don't think I'm going to have a route called dashboard anymore. I think if we need to route back to the main page, we'll just go to our index route, our forward slash route. So let's go back. Let's do that now. Let's go back to the index route, and now we can see our AI generated page is rendering from here, right? Which is great. Now it's looking pretty good, but it's not quite getting everything that we wanted from. Let's see, where was some here. Let me see. One of these. Oh, I just closed the wrong one. Hold on a second. History. Reopen that, please. Oh, this is a earlier version, and today I'm actually going to want to kind of merge these versions. And then this, let's take a look at this one. One of these, I've got too many tabs, I could tell. One of these tabs should have new generation. Let's go back to I know what do we need to do. We need to go back to the regular this because that was the chat version. Then we have this up here, and then we can see the dashboard for the solar generator here, right? So this is kind of what we're going for. We can see that what we're getting rendered is not quite it, right? If we go back here, it's not quite it. So it kind of indicates to me that some of the styling is not really in place yet. So we'll look at that, and then I'm going to look at like how we can break this down into um, more reusable components. Because another thing that you'll see is that there's a lot going on in this component. I would say it's overloaded, and we need to divide it up into some smaller components and compose them. Plus, we have some other UI um, components being rendered in the same file. Hate that, don't like to see that. So we're gonna be working with that a little bit too. And I don't really like the chart that this one came up with. The other version is better. So that's part of the integration that we're gonna be doing today. Let's see. I'm not sure we'll get to data fetching today, but I do have a good set of mock data that we can use. That does come from the API that we can mock out what the results are going to look like. Okay, so first of all, why might some of these things not be working? Let's look at global CSS. This is one file that comes from here, and you'll see. Let's see if we go back to here and we look at the code. Not only do they give us the component, but they give us a global CSS, they give us a layout JSX, and they give us a Tailwind configuration, right? that all go together into making this component look the way that it looks, right? So um, I think we're gonna want to copy some of these over. It uses some CSS variables to define some colors. We'll look at that too. I think we'll probably end up adjusting. It makes it so the CSS can work with Tailwind, right? So actually, before we do this one, I think we need to do layout, right? Because we need to define our font heading and our font body, right? So we have Manrope that we're getting as a Google font, right? We're using the variable font heading for that. We're using the variable font body for this. Okay. Um, and then those are passed through as part of the class name, CN class name, right? So let's copy this over to our layout. Which direction here? Let's open up layout. Now, the other interesting thing about this, right, the new routing system is that if I later, I think I'm going to want to route to another view called forecast once we generate the forecast, right? This this will also have its pages.jsx in there, or page, sorry, it should just be page.jsx. Cool. And this can have its own layout so that every route you go to can have its own layout. But they'll all be kind of children of this layout. So if you're fine with just having one layout for your site, you can have it kind of at the top level of app like this. And then any children, like any components that render under this root layout will just have the same layout. Right now, you can see there's not much to the layout. We have this class name where we use enter class name. Enter is getting Latin subset, right? So, but this is what we're going to fix this up. We're going to make it a little fancier. Let's see. From here, layout, copy the code. Let's do this, paste in, right? Because now we can see we have font. We don't just have Latin, we have some different fonts in our layout here that are accessible. Right, and we should already be able to see on our rendered page. Let's see, did that recompile? It looks like it recompiled, but I don't see much of a change yet. Nope, nope, nope. I think we're going to have to update our globals CSS file to start seeing some of these really kick in and take place. So let's copy this, and we should see some differences with the existing globals. Oop, again, I've got to get it right here. So if we look at the existing globals, the this is the like the template kind of boilerplate global CSS that comes with any project, but we're gonna replace this. So let's oops, I'm gonna highlight all of this, paste in what I copied before. We've got some different colors I can see. On the base layer, we have border, background border, text foreground, right? Font heading. So layer base also gets all of these. So let's save that. Oh, now font body does not exist. Font body does not exist. How does it not exist? It's defined within the layer directive. I thought that's what we just took care of over in layout. We do now we should have font body existing that globals can make use of here. Font body. Let's take a quick look. Let's see. This has this set up. Anything else I changed in globals or in layout? I'm just going to check something here. Just checking all the imports. What do we got here? Oh, right. We've got there's something missing about our post CSS compiler. Let's see. So it's kind of this error is helping us out a little bit. I needed to scroll down, right? So let me make sure. Let's look in our package JSON, make sure we have post CSS installed. So that's good, right? We might want to use, let me kill this server for a second. We might also want to use auto prefixer. And I think we also need a post CSS config. Do we have that? We do. We have Tailwind. Let's add our auto prefixer here as another plugin that can be used by, wrong brackets, that can be used by our post CSS compiler. Is that I think that might be everything we need to get this working. Let's check our Tailwind config while we're down, because I know we've got some changes to make there. Tailwind configuration. Maybe this is also affecting the availability of font body. We need to add it to the theme here. So let's copy this code. Go to, this is under Tailwind config. This is our Tailwind config. Yeah. Yes, you can see we don't have anything in this theme of font body. So let's save all of this. Select it, replace it. Okay. Save those changes and restart our next server. Compiling. Compiling. Compile favicon. Looks like we are compiling without errors. So if we look over here, looking much better now, right? We're getting closer to, well, I think we're pretty close to what we saw in the example that was generated, in this preview that was generated. Cool. Again, I'm not a big fan of this. The other thing we're going to do is kind of bring in some of this, okay? I have, this is just the forecast. Solar forecast, cool. Hold on just a second. So I'm going to pull this in. I'm going to add it as I already kind of downloaded that. So I want to make it part of my components. So I'm going to have a better look at it. And then I can start kind of integrating some of these things, right? One thing is that it uses recharts. So we're going to want to make sure that's available to us. So let me open another terminal really fast. And we'll do npm install recharts. Excellent. Current node. It switched node versions when I opened the new terminal. Let's make sure we got the right. I use node version manager. Use iron is the latest. Will give us a 20.11 version. And now, just to be sure, let me do up. Is it upgrade or update? Upgrade recharts. Just in case we need to get that up to date because I had a different node version there. Okay. Cool. I feel like we've got a little bit too much going on here. Let's take a look at the index page and see how can we break this down a little bit into more manageable pieces, right? We know that we've got a lot of these. These are coming also from the Radix or Radix. I think Radix library. Some of these things, pieces of UI, and they're all getting referenced here and put together. So if we move stuff around, card content, this is address input, right? I'm wondering if some of this stuff, solar array capacity, we've got these little cards on the side. I did like that it's showing you the results right away, but we've got some hard text, hard coded text in here, just as placeholders that we're not going to want. And then card footer, what is this? Get estimate. There's a clickable button here on click handle get estimate once we've entered everything. So, and then definitely these cards need to be extracted or handled in a different way. This card, let's see, we've got a card starting here, card header, and then card content. Okay, card header, card content, and card. Yeah, let's simplify our UI a little bit. I think we are going to want these to be in different um, layouts. Like for instance, well, let's say we could just do, let's see, export default function. We'll move these for now. So we'll say we'll have a forecast page and a map page with some different routing. So this page will be export default, and we'll just call it forecast page. Let's see, and then we'll return this JSX. And we're going to take from this page. Let's move this over like this. I've been doing too much Python. Function. Okay. And okay, now we'll extract this part. Here, we don't need to comment out. We're just gonna move it. So we're also gonna need to do some imports. Card. Okay. Ugh. We're gonna want to maybe use a reformatter with this, make it look a little bit better. But obviously these components are unknown here, so we'll also have to import all of these card elements. All right. And now let's see. If we save the changes and we go back to here, right? We don't have that chart showing on the same page anymore. We'd have to go to /forecast. Oh, time series chart. Yeah, we didn't do all the imports that we need for this to work. Let's, since that's not the chart I want to use, I'm gonna take this out actually. Well, I'm gonna comment it out for now. And then I'll make another note like, it'll be another note like insert rechart here. Okay. There's our little comment. We're going to save that. Error should go away for now. Right. Doesn't look like much, right? Because, well, I thought there would be more card, like blank looking card or something, that this would be a card. I guess we need to, it should be falling within this layout. Let's do this. I feel like these divs, I want these to be part of the overall layout. Right, so we're gonna copy these. I'm gonna comment them out for now. We're gonna put those in our layout file. So we'll have a body. We'll have this JSX. Children. So then we need to have, we're missing 2 closing divs here. Right, and that means here we have a couple of extra divs down at the bottom. We do not need, right? But we might want to wrap this all in its own div though. So maybe bring back one of those divs. Okay. Huh, that was supposed to go away, but it didn't. Okay. Good enough. Okay, so saving those changes to layout and to this file. What I'm going for is, here we go. We get a similar layout. We see the card rendering now, which is going to have some chart and some subcards, but it doesn't quite yet. But if we go back, or we can use our back button actually. Yeah, oops, that wasn't it. Yeah, if we go back to here, we see the same layout applies, the same general styling, position on the screen, border definitions, things like that. But this is going to be our input. We can do the same thing for our map. Let's clear it off of here. Let's see. And I think I haven't quite decided how to implement the map part. I want it as an alternate input that someone could find their location on a map. So, eventually might embed it on the home page, but for now I'm going to give it its own route. Let me see. And then we could maybe incorporate it back. So for an app, map. So map is going to have a page, right? And because we want to just keep this overall layout, then we're not going to give each of these pages kind of like their own specialized layout. There's other things that we can also include in these directories. An error handler page. Let's see, a loading page for when data's loading, right? Those are things we can investigate as we have time. Um, Also, a routes page for that app routers, so we can um, create apps that only are, I mean, routes that like API endpoints that are only accessible through, you know, with each of these kind of sub views. Okay, so map, we're moving where that's forecast. This is map page. Um, Again, we're going to need to, let's see, we're going to need all those card elements. I'm going to take this all out. Solar estimate map, that looks right. Right, okay. X, we're going to do export default function map page, which, why do I put that space in there? It doesn't really need it. Okay, and then return our UI elements, which are going to be card. Again, I feel like this should be good once we do the imports. Again, of these card UI elements. I'm just looking whether we need to wrap that in a div. Maybe not, maybe not. So now we should be able to go to a map. Oop, didn't I delete it? Should have deleted it. Let's reduction in carbon. Okay, let's save. Yes, we have got no map rendering here now. If we want to see map, we have to go to the map route. Cool, right? Again, we still get the overall title and framework, right? And if we want to add some nav, this might be where we'll do it, right? Some nav links, but for now we're just we're just navving by changing the URL. Cool. So before we get into like making the state functional and getting some inputs, that's on the agenda today. um, I did mention trying to incorporate some of the things I liked from, let me show you, from this uh, also this layout, this version of components that v0 generated at a different time when I was preparing this. Let's look. This is the forecast. This is the estimator. Right. I like these color schemes a little bit. I like some of these little icons. So I'm going to see if we can get a little bit more of this look over um, into the version of the app that we're building now. And that's going to give us a look. One thing that we can play with to do that is play around with some of these CSS variables. So do, do, do. We don't need that right now. We're just going to focus on the main page and the main layout here. And is it globals or is it the Tailwind? I think is it Tailwind config? Has the colors? No. Okay. Border, border, border. It's going to come from globals. Yeah, here we go. All right. So you saw under here it said like, oh, for in this theme for border, apply the CSS variable for border, and it's in HSL format. So um, some people might not be familiar with HSL format, but that's what we're looking at here. Our HSL values. Oh, let's put global CSS over here for now, so we can see it side by side. Okay, so when it says background here, if we can see background, it's going to get applied here, right? If we can see foreground, then that's going to be a foreground. I believe these all get, um, so that's how that's going to work. So again, as with variables anywhere, it makes it so we don't have to go around and change a lot of values in uh, specific places. We can change values in one place and see the effect um, everywhere throughout the app simultaneously, right? Um, so, so going back and like considering this, there's a little bit of a darker blue color. This is much darker blue, right? And so we could start playing around with background colors. But what do these values mean? How do we know what color we want to set it to? Um, if you're not familiar with HSL, HSL stands for hue, saturation, and lightness. So the first color is hue, the second color is saturation, and the third color is lightness, right? Um, and these are percentages. And then the fourth one you see is A. So sometimes you see this HSLA, which tells us the transparency. We can actually add transparency to, um, right? But if we don't give that optional last value to HSL, it I think it just defaults to 1. Okay, so and here we can see we have hues that go up to 360, right? And then we have hues that are down to 0 and everywhere in between. So to get that kind of nice light color background, I think something around a 200 with 100 saturation. You can see this kind of goes more towards gray as we desaturate it, right? And then this will affect the deepness of the color, right? So I think to get something a little bit darker, I think right now we've got a very, very light, like in the 90s. I think we'll want to come down maybe around 75. So let's try that and apply that. So background 200. And let me see, are there other places where we've done this? Let's do all of these at the same time. So anywhere where we're using a kind of blue hue throughout here on all these variables, we're going to bring it down to 200. Any place that 200 is 97%. So here's another one for the card, right? Let's bring it down to 75% then. All right. Whoa. This is different, right? So for the card, we might not want the same color. We might want to differentiate. And is that a little more saturated than we want? Going back and looking at, is it this version? Which version are we looking at? Again, it's like too many. Yeah, this one. I wonder if we could do we want, where do we want to use a dark blue? Where do we want to use a light blue in our layout? Well, we've got cards and then we've got cards within cards, because I'm thinking like maybe this could have a white background. where we're doing the inputs, but then these cards could have a dark blue. Let's there's card foreground and card background. I'm not sure how those are going to get used, but let's make this a little bit lighter. I think 80, save. Okay, you can see the contrast there a little bit. If we're going to have two kinds of cards, card foreground. Card default is card, and then card foreground. Let's try to use this card foreground and see if we can apply it. Let's get card to be more of a white. What is this primary? 308, I think, and 56 and 85. What color is that going? Let's see. Sometimes VS Code will help us. No. Primary. Is VS Code going to help? No. Okay. Not right here. I'm just thinking a little bit. Primary foreground. We could make the card white and card foreground a darker color. So let's see. To get this kind of royal blue. Where's our HSLA? HSL. So if we want to go towards more of like this darker kind of royal blue. Is that too much? Let's see. We get this a little higher. It's not bad. 215, 10, and 60. Okay, let's try that for card folk. What we say? 215, 10, and 60 for card foreground. Oh, 160. Sorry. Okay. That did seem a little low. Okay. We'll save that. Card we can, and then do we want, I guess card, let's go more towards the white, which would be, I thought white was like, yeah. We want it totally white, this. White is this, black is zeros, 360, 100. What is this? Why is it? Is any color white out if we take the lightness up to 100? It kind of looks like that, right? It doesn't really matter if we take it up to 100. 100, 100. So we could get very close. Let's see, we could go whatever card is 200, 100. Let's do 95. Interesting. How did it? Oh, somehow it's taking our foreground as the text color. That's interesting. How is that getting applied in the code? Let's take a look. We get to these little subcards. Class name, grid, gap 4. Class name, select, direction, okay. This is still an input. Font, bold, text, muted foreground here. So this why it's using foreground here? Muted foreground. Oh no, it's using muted foreground, which is this. Just trying to see where some of these are getting applied within here that we can play around with these classes. Grid, grid, grid. Right, because I was wondering if we could do card class name equals what did I say for the darker one? Card foreground. Background card foreground. Ah, okay. Let's see, what do we get there? Ah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Right, but then we have to do something about the text, right? All right, I get it. Let's worry about that a little bit later. Let's see if we can start getting use current location or enter address to work. We might want to do something about these button colors, but something about that. So we'll do more playing around with colors, but I want to start getting some inputs working. Since we're getting short on time. So let's set this aside for now. Let me do a quick commit. So decompose, I guess, decompose components is something we did. And copy alt forecast. Well, I'll just say copy forecast page. That's good enough. Okay. So let us look at how we've got some state here already set up for the address and the location. So what I don't see though is these changing based on the radio button change. So I feel like something's not right with the radio buttons. Solar array capacity. Where are those inputs? We can take this out now. We don't need this. Okay. Here's a radio group. Okay. Location radio, address radio. Well, I think to work as a group, don't we want to give them the same name? We need to give them, they need the value. They need some on change, right? That's going to change the value. So let's look at that. I was quickly looking at something about checkboxes. Is this data fetching, upgrading? No. Just to refresh our minds. Oh, I guess maybe I got rid of it. Okay. Let's take a quick look here. Huh. Where is it? Let's see. Oh, I think it might be here. Too many tabs. Okay. Right. So we can see name topping. Oh, so they can have their different IDs. We need to give them a name attribute, right, for the radio group. We can give it a checked attribute, and we want to have our on change, right? Maybe with an on change handler. So label for large, ID large, that makes sense, right? So let's give these the same name attributes for these to do. So this is the value address radio, and this is the value location for location radio button. Let's put this, and we can give them a name attribute. What should this be called? Let's see. Location radios? I think location radios is okay. Even though this is called location, it kind of makes sense. And then they're both going to need on change event handlers equals to, and we'll say, let's see, on change handle location input. Oh, location radios. Let's have a function called that, right? So we'll need a function up here for that. Handle location radios. Right, it's going to take an event, and it's going to, we're going to need a new piece of state because this is the actual values that will get input, but we're going to have, because this is kind of like a toggle, right? So we're going to have to say it's like selected. I'll just call it location input. That's easier. Location input. Set location input equals use state. We'll start it out with like the actual string address, the value address, right? Oh, and that reminds me that both of these radio groups, we can give them a checked attribute. Oop, come on. Let's go here and another one here. Oop, wrong place there. No, too many. Escape, forget it. Start over. All right. That needs a space. That needs a space. Option there, option there. Good. Okay. And we'll call it, wait, does that have two again? Why did that happen? Okay. Cool. And we'll call it checked equals, and this will be the, what do I call it? Location input. Oh, this needs to be a ternary because check needs to be a Boolean. Location input. Let's see, equals, and here's where it'll be different, right? We'll say address. I guess we don't need it to be a ternary. We can just say this location input, location. Then that one will be checked, okay? And these need to get closed. Let's see. There we go. We have an on change handle location radios. What happened here? So now we need to set location input with e.target.value. Whatever got clicked. Okay. So we should be able to see now. We can click here. We can click here. No? Because we should be able to affect state. Let's use our React Dev tools. So it's going to be the last thing. This might be the last thing we get to see. What we want to see is this component. Show me all the components, please. Here we go. We can look for radio group and radio group item, right? We got some labels. We have radio group indicator. Where is radio group item? Trying to see where card content. This, here we go. I'm looking for the state. Oh, this state is actually on way up on dashboard, right? Yeah, there we go. So we start out with address. Oh, I'm changing the wrong thing. Oh, I just realized. Set.
Hey, Lance.
Yeah, I was just trying to get this last thing done, but we might have to pick up here next time.
I think it feels like a good time to put a pin in it.
All right. Well, as usual, I'm going to save these changes under the week 2 branch, and I'll make sure the link to this repo is up on Bletchley Discord under learning software. Learn software engineering. Learn software engineering. It'll be on that channel on the Discord, on the Bletchley server. So you can take a look at the code that we did today. And next week, we will start doing fetching and getting data and rendering a chart from the data that we get. So we'll be able to finalize our inputs from the user and then do some fetches with them, and it will be cool. Then we'll have some results to display. Awesome.
Sounds good to me. Thanks so much, Lance. That was great.
Yeah, thanks,
I'm excited
Michelle.
to see this come together.
Yeah, me too.
All right. We'll see y'all next week.
Okay.
Take
Bye-bye,
it easy.
everybody. Oh my gosh, it flies by.